Trump, gather the facts straight. You are the president. You could have called the South African president and asked his side of the story. We've got policies and guidelines in this country. We've got law. Land expropriation without compensation is done in a fair manner.
Hi guys, it's Billy from Amersfoort. Just tell Donald Trump to stay away from South African issues. We've got our own China on the block, and we can't worry much about America. We've got Xi Jinping from China. We will take care of our issues right now. Let him just concentrate on building the wall against Mexico. Thank you so much. Billy from Amersfoort. Bye.
All right, China might be pleased. That was some of your responses to our question of the day. What would you say to US President Donald Trump? And there's our Twitter handle and the number you can call us, 066-479-8056, if you'd like to give us your response. And now, Trump's tweet was based on a Fox News insert that we played for you, extraordinarily claiming that President Cyril Ramaphosa has, quote, stolen property for racist reasons, saying that land is being seized in South Africa. Very alarmist. We're dealing with the fallout, and let's bring in again Professor John Stremlau from Wits and from Parliament's Portfolio Commission on International Relations in Cape Town, Siphosezwe Masango. Mr. Masango, your reaction to that, stealing property for racist reasons, this is what's going out on US media.
Yes, as I've said earlier on, it is extremely unfortunate because it is a misrepresentation of the intention of what is happening in South Africa. There are no land seizures in South Africa, and there will be no disorder in carrying out the land reform and land redistribution. As the President indicated, it's going to be done within the law, it's going to be done within what would have been prescribed as to how it should be done. And secondly, the President indicated yesterday in the oral questions for oral reply that already on Tuesday he has had discussions with Agri SA, and many of whom were said that they are happy to support the reform that must be undertaken after the consultation. And they think that apartheid was a gross injustice to the country. It pitted whites against black, black against white. It was a wrong system. So it is necessary that land redistribution be done in the interest of all South Africans. And the South African government, I would imagine, and the South African parliament is not just going to support black farmers. It's going to support South African farmers in order to ensure that there is a food security and agricultural production. And I would imagine that the relations between South Africa and the USA must continue to be cordial and to be deepened as we have good trade relations with the USA. And the USA and the USA people should actually be called upon to support this land reform because they did support our fight against the apartheid system.
Well, the State Department that was actually quoted on Fox News made a very reasonable statement. Let me come to you, Professor. So for people who don't know, Fox is very conservative. What would you say to South Africans who are trying to understand the media landscape in the US and how this report would even come about?
Well, it is very partisan, very narrow-based, but has the ear of Donald Trump. How many governments, serious governments in the world, could you imagine President Ramaphosa deciding that he would address such a sensitive and important issue by a tweet to Minister of International Relations and Cooperation Sisulu? Of course not. Of course not. He would quietly ask his Secretary of State to look into it. They would do the professional inquiry, which is comparable to anything that goes on in normal international relations, and then issue a statement such as the State Department did earlier today that you were quoting quoting a few moments ago. It is Donald Trump, the vain and self-centered and arrogant and impulsive and ignorant, currently legitimately elected president who must be dealt with by the American people over time. And we'll see that play out, as you were referring to earlier in your conversation.
I saw a report on Vox which says it's hard to overstate how unprecedented this is. The President of the United States just directed the Secretary of State to look into a racist conspiracy theory he saw on Fox News.
Exactly.
But this isn't so unprecedented for Donald Trump.
No, it's not unprecedented for Donald Trump, and it's not unprecedented for the United States to look at South Africa during the apartheid era when Southern whites controlled a lot of the key congressional committees through, they said, Cold War, but really friendly eyes for the apartheid government. And it is a credit, I think, to the rank and file Americans who increasingly rose up and protested against apartheid and changed the U.S. foreign policy. We're going to see the same thing happen, I believe, in the case of Donald Trump. It will be maybe in the long term good for democracy, but in the short term, there are real dangers that you've already talked about and that we have to be aware of. Economic
dangers, AGOA, all of that. Mr. Masango, the question is, if I can play devil's advocate, can we really deal with this as South Africa when our land policy is unclear? We're letting the debate hang. We haven't ring-fenced who will face expropriation, if they will, whether it will relate to land that is claimed in the past or general. Are we not dealing with this quickly like we should?
The sound is again, as I've said, is a little bit very poor. But what I've said earlier on was that the policy of willing seller, willing buyer did not serve the South Africans well. And the decision that was taken at the conference of the ANC was that there must be expropriation of land without compensation. And the government then said that it was going to undertake this process through Parliament, and Parliament has constituted a committee that is consulting all the South Africans in order to implement this policy.
What do you think, Professor? Because the ANC spoke about changing the Constitution, then testing the Constitution by expropriating some land. The debate has been going on for a while. We haven't seen that test happen yet. Do we know who will be targeted? Is this not the uncertainty that we said we would deal with?
This is a debate for South Africans to have among themselves. There is a very lively, important, and positive debate going on within the African National Congress and in the legislature of South Africa on this issue. And I don't think this is a foreign affairs issue, except to the fact that Americans will be trying to assess how reliable a partner South Africa will be if its institutions hold and it can deliver on what it promises when you have a complex negotiation like AGOA. In the same vein, Americans have to come to terms with Donald Trump on their own terms, politically within the United States, and South Africa should follow that process very clearly. But leave it to the Americans to get rid of Trump, and we'll leave it to the South Africans to settle the land issue. As Mr. Nsando just rightly said, you are trying very hard to do. We know this has been an issue that has not been adequately addressed. I support very strongly the ANC's approach in trying to cut to the bottom of this, and I wish Cyril Ramaphosa well, but that is for the citizens of South Africa to decide.
But the U.S. president doesn't think so. And if you look at his previous tweets, I mean, he seems to be hardening his opinion around South Africa. This is somebody who's started a trade war with China. So AGOA, all the things you're talking about, those are in serious doubt, are they not?
Well, they are only in doubt to the extent to which Donald Trump retains the authority of the presidency and the election which brought him to power by a very narrow margin. And as you know, he lost the popular vote. And what happens in the congressional elections this fall, and what happens in November. But
you act as if he may be on his way out.
Well, but listen, like you alluded to this. This is a distraction issue that is serving his cynical interests of trying to deflect from the fact that his closest associates were convicted of fraudulent criminal behavior on Tuesday. And that puts him more at risk for the Mueller investigation, for obstructing justice, complicity with the Russians, and probably financial misconduct during his pre-presidential term, but that makes him exposed to foreign power influence. That has to be worked out by Americans, but that should not be underestimated by South Africans. And therefore, I think that the government of South Africa is responding very responsibly and cautiously.
All right, so maybe we cling to the hope that at least the State Department is making those reasonable pronouncements on the land debate. Thank you very much, Professor John Stremlau from Wits, and from Parliament's Portfolio Committee on International Relations, Siphosezwe Masango, for us from Cape Town. Let's listen to more of your voice notes. What would you say if you had the ear of US President Donald Trump?
What should be addressed is all the corruption in the government and the municipalities victimizing the poor Africans that live in shacks. That there should be a special inquiry into that rather than expropriate land. Other countries gave millions and millions of dollars to South Africa, stolen from Tutu right through to Zuma, the Guptas, and everybody else. So yes, it is a serious blanket statement, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. And if you interviewed the Boers that are suffering and the families that have to bury the farmers, it is true, you guys are in denial.